Hi, my name is Rebecca Thompson Hitt, and I'm the founder and executive director of the Consciously Parenting Project. And I am here today with Rachel. Rachel, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm going to be co-facilitating these Healing Story Circle weekends.
Yay! So we wanted to talk to you about what is a healing story circle. If you're not familiar with it, if you've never experienced one before, we thought that was a good place to start. If you're thinking about coming to a healing story circle weekend, maybe you should know what one is. So healing story circles are something that I started doing about 8 years ago, and it ended up I had my members, and we wanted to have conversations, and I wanted it to feel safe. And I realized that the tools that I had to hold the space, it didn't really feel safe. I didn't really know how to start it or how to end it, and sometimes I had healing story circles that went on for like 3 hours because we didn't know how to end it. And so I learned, and I found different ways of leading a healing story circle that felt good, to me, and that also felt good to people because they kept coming back. So I knew I was onto something. So healing story circle is really an opportunity to share something. And it can be literally anything. It can be something that is good, it can be something that you're having a hard time with. But instead of, like in most of our life, where we share something and everyone jumps in to try to fix it and tell us what we need to do, the healing story circle space is a space of reflection. So, Rachel, you want to talk a little bit about what that's like?
Well, I think it's really like this slowing down and feeling into your body, and you're listening. You're really focusing on listening to what the other people say, and you're checking in with yourself. How does that make me feel? And realizing, like, oh, that's mine, this is theirs, but having that space to really, really listen to what the other person's saying. And then being able to share back what you heard them say, giving them an opportunity to be like, oh, is that what I meant? And then clarify.
That's right. Yeah. It's this beautiful space where people, when it's your turn to share, the others are listening, as Rachel was just describing from that perspective. And then the person who gets the reflection, who shared, gets to hear what other people heard and the things that really stuck out to them. And in that process, we, the person who's sharing, find our own way. We find what we need in our own story. And the other thing that's really important about a healing story circle is that it's not only about reflecting the struggles, because that's when we share something that's a hard thing for us, we often can only see the struggle. But when people are listening, what everyone else also sees, in addition to the struggle, are those strengths, those things that, like, wow, I can see what a caring mom you are. Like, you've made all this effort for this to happen. I can see how much you care. And those are the things that we lose sight of because we're just trying to solve this problem. And so the reflection that you get back is not just, oh, here's your problem back at you again, and you're like, oh my God, that's awful. What an awful problem to have. Because I think in the beginning, when we were doing the reflection, I think maybe sometimes we felt that way. But it's also bringing in those strengths, those things that we're also seeing and hearing and feeling as the person shares.
Right. And there's like this collective conscious or this collective story, right? That like you hear your story and other people's. And I think that brings in this whole other level of connection of like being able to really relate. And even though they might be so far away and have a totally different life than you hear your story in their story.
Yeah. And it's amazing. After every single healing story circle, we always close with, what are we taking with us from our time together today? And every time I do these healing story circles and we get to the end, I am blown away by what people are taking with them. That understanding of something about themselves, or an understanding of a connected relationship, or maybe something that they could see in themselves in another person's story. And as you said, the people who attend these healing story circles are all over the world. They are literally sometimes on the other side of the world from where we live, and yet we have so much in common, and we can hear our stories, and it's so beautiful at the end to just, wow, that's what you got out of what I shared. Wow, you're taking that with you. That helped you for you to hear what I'm going through.
And
Wow.
it's so powerful for the listener and for the sharer in that sense. Like it feels really empowering to both people.
Right. Right. So these healing story circles are really very special. And it takes a special person who is ready to do this kind of work. So they're not for everybody. So I really want you to check in with yourself and say, all right, well, is that something that I need? Is that something that I want? Is that something that I'm ready for right now? And if you're getting a, yeah, it's interesting, then we have the opportunity for you to try one if you haven't tried one. So there's not a big commitment. You're not committing to a whole weekend or to a retreat or anything like that. It's just the opportunity to experience what it's like.